Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is BlueMaxima and I'm here doing something a little different today. It's about time I showed you another project that I'm working on and, well, that just seems to be a thing, isn't it? I've overloaded myself with projects, but one of the people who I work with on BlueMaxima's Flashpoint, which is a web game preservation project, said something along the lines to me of, what about J2ME mobile games? What about the older mobile games before iOS and Android? There were thousands of them, and we don't seem to have any way to play them on PC. We do on Android, but not on PC. At least not easily anyway. After a little bit of research, I found that all this crap was actually a fair bit harder than one might expect. So, I started a little project called Kahvibreak. It's been in the works for a few months, and well, now it's time to actually show it off a little bit. It has been publicly released already. This is a in-progress build that is not out at the time I'm recording this video, but it'll be out eventually. So, this is J2ME mobile games in the Flashpoint sort of philosophy. We have the same launcher. It has been modified a little bit. Like, we've got a fancier logo here. We got a slightly different homepage, but it's all basically the same. We have 500 J2ME mobile games in this, and counting. Yeah, it's pretty expansive at this point, but I'm going to tell you something right now, that's not even close to all of it. I have several collections of Java files for projects like this, and they are full of Java files. Like, we're talking about files, like for example, let's just show you how this works. So, we've got all our games here, and they're tiny. Like, look at the sizes on these. The biggest game in the collection right now is only 2.5 meg. And that is, like, way out of the ordinary. It goes down to 1 meg pretty quick, and then the smallest can be anywhere like 7 kilobytes. The thing is, I have something along the lines of 30 to 40 gigs of Java files. This is mainly thanks to a couple of people who have been working on this project with me. There's Kindigs, who's been working on a massive all-in-one scrape. There's Nokia64, who's been doing a lot of things, including the majority of the curations for this. It hasn't been just me working on this time, thank God. But it's all here and it all works. For example, let's just pick one. I think God of War Betrayal is a good start as any. One of the main inspirations to actually start getting this project off the ground was a series of videos from a guy named Minime. I don't know exactly how you pronounce his name, but he did a video on this God of War game. Do you want to enable audio? Yes, I do. It's going to be quite loud. I'm going to have to edit this down later, but that's okay. So, in case you weren't paying very close attention earlier on, if we just go back to the home tab here, you can see the controls. We have to have mapped them on the numpad to make it even remotely playable, and as you can see here, it changes it so that the keys are in the same layout, but the numbers are reversed. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is where you would expect them to be on a phone keypad on your numpad, on your keyboard. And you've also got Q, W, E, and R being those buttons, and you can also use the arrow keys and the enter key to do things like navigate in menus and play certain games. With that said, let's boot up God of War Betrayal. Now, we are using K-Emulator for this project. We are also using FreeJ2ME because the two of them have things they are compatible with that the other one is not. So we're just picking whichever one is most appropriate at the time. If FreeJ2ME can't run it, we use K-Emulator. And we've also got two different versions of K-Emulator. Whoosh. Continue to press the left soft key, which is on Q. So next to him, we'll press down to grab him. Smack. Yes, this was actually a phone game. The resolution is quite high. This is a 240 by 320 game. And they actually got higher than this. But yes, they did actually have a God of War game on mobile. And God forbid, it actually works. Like, this actually is pretty impressive. Even for like a mobile device from back in like 2006 when a game like this would have come out. And we even have a boss fight. Which is kind of neat. It really does play like a God of War game. With all the fancy animations, all of the combat and everything. It's really impressive. We even get different weaponry. It's all relatively easy to play thanks to the fact that the controls across the emulators are all the same. And we're just going to finish that off there because it's probably got plenty more in there for us to play. And we've still got plenty of other things going on here. We have a favorites playlist and a Hall of Fame playlist. It's not as populated as, say, your old favorite Flashpoint, but it does work. We do also have screenshots, of course, and they are viewed nice and sharp in this launcher here. So as you can see, you get all those little details from the tiny resolution that you can get. We'll just skip the intro here for Mel Smash Pinball, and we'll just go. This is on Free J2ME. I know for a fact the controls on this are pressing 1 and 3 on your mobile keypad, which is 7 and 9. You can... I thought you could, never mind. Man, even I don't know what the hell I'm doing half the time. People really shouldn't be surprised by this. So you do have the option with certain emulators like this one to just maximize it. K-emulator does not work the same way though. You do have to use the plus and minus keys on the keyboard. We do have the ability to choose the scale via game. So if I hit the edit button here, you can see that we've got the name of the Java file, and then we've got a resolution and a scale amount. So this is a 96 by 65 game, and it scales up to 400% of its regular size as its default. We set it like this to make sure that if we scale it too high, it doesn't go off the screen of certain people. Like, if we scale a 240 by 320 game up to about 300%, it won't fit on a 720p screen. There are some games we can't do anything about this. Like, there are a couple in this collection that are 480 by 800, but for the most part, we do what we can. This is Racket. It's one of the smaller, older games. Like, its resolution is 96 by 65, but it's still actually... It's still actually a pretty satisfying game to play. I suck at it, but God forbid I'm trying. There we go, I actually won a bollocks. I won a bollocks. I won a set of testicles. Wonderful. Come on, let it... Do I even really have to move? Yeah, we have 550 games from all over the spectrum. Like, we've got that. We already showed you, like, Mel Smash Pinball. But we do also have some 3D games as well. Some really impressive ones to boot. Like, where is it? There it is. We have Project Gotham Racing Mobile. I can scale this up a bit, too, using the numpad. We will enable sounds, please. You can see we still got all the metadata over here, although it's not as filled in and complete as... It's not as filled in and complete as your old-fashioned... What's the word I'm looking for? As Flashpoint. But we do at least have the genre, the source, the developer, the publisher. And usually the play mode is single player, so it's not like that matters anyway. There are a couple of like local multiplayer games, but it is a lot harder in comparison to... It's a lot harder in comparison to, say, Flash to make it work on one phone, especially when you're talking about old phones like 3310s, although this does go a little bit further than that. We don't have the old 3310... We don't have the 3310 Snake game on here, which I'm a little bit disappointed by, I must admit, but not much you can really do about that. I mean, we could probably go find it. We still have long ways to go, but everything seems to be working. We do curate games the same way that we do in Flashpoint. We add them in the same way, and I make sure to at least test them to make sure they boot, although we are hopefully trying to recruit people who care enough about the games to at least make sure they work before they send them in. Thanks to the fact that the emulators aren't complete, there's not really that much we can do about certain games not working. We have run into a couple of, I believe, Elkware games that just don't work, which is... Really should be paying attention to the road. I look away for half a second and I go straight into a corner. But yeah, we do have games that don't work. We would like to see some more advanced emulators get onto the PC. Like, we'd love to see J2ME Loader on Android make its way to PC somehow. And I am half tempted to contact the creator of J2ME Loader and see what we can do. You could probably just take all of the games from this, pop them straight onto an Android phone, and that'd be the end of it. You could just play them right then and there, but again, this is mainly for PC. We don't know how long Android is going to last, although it's probably going to last a fair bit longer than we might expect at this point. Download and setup is really easy. We include K-Emulator along with this, which included its own Java, so it was able to run straight from that, and we hooked up FreeJ2ME to that instead of running through a previous install of the Java runtime environment on a PC. So basically, it's all self-contained, download and play, which is, again, the sort of philosophy that makes Flashpoint work as well as it does. Make sure it all works as much as humanly possible. And I'll demonstrate right now. So we got 3,000 kudos. I actually played Project Gotham Racing on Xbox not that long ago, and I had so much trouble with it. Yeah, we got credits when we got kudos, but yeah, we'll just quit the game now. So I'll show you how it works, or at least I'll show you how it looks like when you download it. So if I just close that up, we'll go back to the Kahvibreak. So curations, that's not something we need to worry about. So it runs off the same data structure as Flashpoint, so you can see all the images, the single platform at the moment. We can't do Symbian, unfortunately, because there's no proper Symbian thing going on, which kind of sucks. There's no proper Symbian emulator. There is one in the works, but it basically doesn't do anything at this point. Your two playlists are there. We've got the Metal theme, which if you've been using Flashpoint, you might not recognize. Metal is actually a slightly updated default look for Flashpoint. All your games are here. There's no Infinity equivalent. It's all one download and all just extract and play. But that one download is only like 250 meg at the moment, so it's not that big a deal. We are using a slightly modified version of the Flashpoint launcher. There are sources on the website. You do have some software here. This is all the emulators and stuff that we use, including FreeJ2ME and K-Emulator. We are also using a slightly modified version of K-Emulator, which runs off a JRE that's been slightly edited. So we've actually renamed Java W to Java Z, because some of these games are actually kind of bugged in the sense that they won't properly close down Java when you close them. So we make it so that Start Kahvibreak will automatically close Java games once we close the launcher itself. So if we close that, it'll see how it automatically closes it. So it just makes sure everything is gone when you close it up. It's that simple. And when you go to Kahvibreak Brewer, these are the only 4 folders and the things you get. You extract, you run the Start Kahvibreak shortcut, and that's it. It all works out of the box as you would hope for it to do. And there are a fair few games here, I gotta say. We even have some really interesting ones, like there's Digital Chocolate, which have a bunch of great games. There's Gameloft, who had a bunch of stuff on the J2ME era. They were like the big developers back then. They were in the iOS days as well. Like all of the Tom Clancy games were developed by them, including Rainbow Six and Splinter Cell. We also have some other like really interesting concepts. Like, did you know Java phones had touchscreens? I didn't, but if we go and have a look at a game called Brick Breaker Revolution, we can use the mouse. We'll keep sounds off because bugger sounds, right? just skip the intro. Oh, whoops. Back. Classic mode, please. Would you like hints? No, I would not. I am actually using the mouse here. I must be thinking of the wrong game, but yeah. There are some games that have touchscreen support, and if they have touchscreen support, you just use the mouse. That's simple, really. Which is kind of neat. There are also just weird things. Like, we've got a Chinese side-scroller here, if you feel like it. We have a couple of Konami-produced Japanese titles. Like, did you know there was an Initial D J2ME game? Well, there it is. And we made some effort to include some licensed games. Of course, it's not complete yet, but we've got things like Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, and we have the Final Fantasy ports, which is bizarre to me personally, and plenty of, like, like, we got a Rambo game, for example, Rambo on Fire, which reminds me of Commando, and we've got some games like Ratchet and Clank going mobile. We can't guarantee that these all work, but we have them here, and we did at least, you know, try them out. We did play them. We did make sure they emulated okay before we chucked them in. So, I don't really have much else to say about it. I wanted to put this video out just to show you what I've been up to, and hopefully get a few more eyes on a project, because, well, there are very few ways to actively advertise a project like this. We're going to be doing a big advertising push sooner rather than later, but yeah, I just figured I'd come and show this off, because this is also one of the reasons why I've been so distracted, and I've barely been able to make videos at the moment. That Gotcha Force video you saw 2 days ago was really a backup video that I recorded weeks ago, expecting this sort of crap to happen. But hey, go and try it out. There's a link in the description. All you need is, I believe Windows 7 will work with this. Windows 10 definitely works with this. Again, all of the stuff you need is included. It shouldn't need to require an update of Windows or anything to work properly. So if you feel up to giving Kahvibreak a go, just please do. Let me know what you think of it. Have fun diving into the little history of Java games. We might not have put version 1.1 out yet, which has all of this stuff in it. But if I haven't, there will be a thing on the website. I'm not going to go to the website right now to show you, but basically there'll be a little button that says Brewer, latest in dev, and that'll have all of this stuff in it. So if you want to try that out, you can do that. Now to go and try and play some more. This has been BlueMaxima, and I will see you all next time.